we're here this morning. We're going to talk a bit about discovering the Office web application. Has anybody tried these Office web applications yet? One person at the back who's just walked in. That's good news then, because that means I've got quite a few demos to show you. As we go through, we're going to look at the competitor product as well, which is the Google Docs. Anybody tried Google Docs before? So a few people of those, how they render differently, and that kind of thing. We'll also talk about the broadcasting. I've actually got a slide on what we're actually going to be discussing in a minute. Anyway, I'm Alex Pearce. I'm a SharePoint MVP. I work for Redstone at i4E. Redstone are a PLC company with several umbrella companies, but I work for the education division, delivering SharePoint into schools and educational institutions. i4E stands for Innovation for Education. I also blog at learninggateway.net. Learning Gateway is a brand name for SharePoint and all the integrated products such as Exchange and SQL reporting and all that kind of thing into a single product for schools. My email address is on there if you want it, my Twitter account. But I'm also the founder of the Learning Gateway user group and the co-founder of the Learning Gateway conference that we're holding later on this year. So as I mentioned, we're going to look at what web apps are, the SkyDrive, talk about SharePoint 2010 and the web apps are in there, and also the feature that's within SharePoint 2010, which is the PowerPoint broadcasting. So, story of the past. Does this remind anybody of Word as it was many, many, many years ago? It's a scary thought about what it actually was then and what it is now, really. Office really has evolved. I mean, this is just Word. This is what Word 2003, I think it was. Still doesn't look too outdated, I don't think. It's still nothing like it is nowadays. We've obviously got loads of text at the top and different buttons. And of course, we went into the ribbon style in 2007. We've gone into some of the applications, not all of them. But now in 2010, we've got the Office ribbon in all of them. There's the ribbon itself. And then maybe a few boxes you might have seen previously in the past as well. All the way from Word version 6, or Office 3 as it was known, all the way up to 2010. But as we've gone through these, this is the first time that Office has actually completely changed and there's now an online version being offered. And there's actually the reason Microsoft, I think one of the main reasons they've done it is because Google have done it. So I thought, oh, I better compete like they normally do. So web apps. With web apps, you can access documents from virtually anywhere, whether you're editing a document from home or calibrating with someone around the world. Web apps help you work the way you want. So as I said, we've got Google, we've got Microsoft. So I thought, let's see what the competitor products are doing. Let's see what Google are doing first. Using the Google demo at a Microsoft conference. Anyway, this is my Google Docs. I've uploaded a few of the documents that we're going to use today just to see how they render differently as we actually go along. So I've got the Premier League table in here. So very simple. Aston Villa are not high enough. They're only 8th. They're 7th, aren't they? Very disappointing. And of course I can just go in here and I can change that to 20. And it's done. Saved. I've also got my PowerPoint. There we go. This is a session from Andrew Woodward yesterday. It's got a bit of animation in it, so I thought, well, we'll see how the animation works between the products. So we've got his slide deck, pretty quick. This is the slide with all the animation on it. It's supposed to be flashing up, different bits coming up at different times. So it's not quite going to do all the animations work that we want it to. What else have we got? We've got OneNote, and it's not done anything. So OneNote doesn't work within it. That's one of the ones we're going to see within the Microsoft offering. And we've also got my wonderful Word document here. Oh, that's not loaded very well. But I can see the text. I can change a few things. I can see the bolding. I can do some very simple things, really, with it. Only problem I had with this document when I first uploaded it is 1.6 meg. And I said I couldn't upload a document that was bigger than a meg. So I was quite disappointed with that. I won't be able to upload my 1.6 meg file and edit it online. So I'm a bit disappointed by those, if I'm honest. Let's close a few of these. Jumping back to the slides. Demo, Google Docs, there we go, just done that. So, Microsoft have offered 4 solutions. Believe that I will know, at the moment, this is all I believe they actually are going to be offering. So we've got Word, we've got Excel, we've got PowerPoint, and we've got OneNote. Anybody here use OneNote? A few people. OneNote, I love OneNote. I do all my note-taking on it. I would certainly recommend it to anybody. Try it. Try it for a week. That's what somebody said to me. Look, just try your notes. Don't do any pad writing or anything like that. Try it for 1 week. Don't give up. 1 week, you'll be sold. And I've never known anybody else who's actually given up after a week because they've actually started to grow with it. We can add images, we can print documents, we can store documents in it. Of course, we don't want to store documents in it. We want to store them in SharePoint. But the option's there. Anybody heard of SkyDrive? 1 or 2. So SkyDrive is 25 gig available on the internet for you to store documents in the cloud, however you want it. So I've got a private folder, I've got a public folder, so when I share documents, sometimes I put them up on SkyDrive, send them the URL to be able to access that document, and they can download it. But you can also actually access the web apps on it. It's great, no problem with that. The only problem is it's only available to US at the moment. There is a way around it. You change your keyboard to US, and you can access the beta. And what I actually have here, it's not really 7 minutes to 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner, but I'm in American time, which means when I come into my lives, so this is my Windows Live profile kind of thing, and I can see here I've got different documents, my favourites, so you can store your favourites up online as a single place, which you move from machine to machine. You have all your favourites stored in there. So if I click on my documents, I have 2 documents there. I've got my Excel spreadsheet. I click on the spreadsheet. I'm not going to go into it too much, I'm just showing you at the moment, but we'll discuss it a little bit further. And I can actually see my spreadsheet, that's here. And that's the same if I do my PowerPoint presentation. This is my slide deck from earlier on in the week. Fingers crossed, it won't take too long to load. There we go. So that's my slide deck. So it's very simple. We've got our Word, Excel, we've got OneNote in there. So it's not just an enterprise product. It's going to be available for everybody to use. So that's our demo for SkyDrive. So what will SharePoint 2010 Web Apps actually have? So we have a separate installer, so it's not going to come out of the box as part of your SharePoint 2010. It's another download. It's another product key that you're going to have to you install. You run the installer, you put your product code in, fine, then you run your configuration wizard. Hopefully your IT admins will be able to do all that for you. That's what they have to do to install SharePoint in the first place. We then have 3 separate service applications in Central Admin. Now, service applications, I don't know if you know, there's metadata, there's profiles, which is usually my sites, there's Excel services, there's loads of them now. There's about 12, I think, altogether. This adds another 3. Why 3, I don't know. We've got PowerPoint, we've got Excel, we've got Word and OneNote together. I don't know why they're together. Please don't ask the question, because I don't know the answer, but they are together. So if you're going to deploy Word, you're going to get OneNote as well. It's also a site collection feature. So if you're going to turn it on, be prepared that everybody in that site collection is going to have it. So I think we should get straight on. We'll start with Word. So here's my very basic SharePoint site. As you can see, I've got a PowerPoint presentation, Word, got Excel, and we've got a OneNote. So we said we're going to start Word. So this is a white paper that I put together, and it's rendered perfectly. This is actually the same white paper that I loaded up on the Google Docs a couple of minutes ago, and you can see already that I can see exactly what it's supposed to look like as I go along. I'm just viewing it at the moment. I can do a search. I'm going to find in here. So let's do Actually, it's a document based on Moodle, so it's found all the Moodle bits for me, which is great. That's what we can do from the view. So we'll click on Edit. Now, it does take some of the rendering away that we have, and you'll see that instantly. As you can see. So the content page has disappeared. My front cover page is gone. But the simple rendering, the simple text, the font's still there. So I can still do the simple changes that I want. That's one thing to always remember about the web apps. They are very simple. They are not your full-blown version of Word. I'm not going to replace your Word for you. So as you can see, we've got our ribbon. We can obviously do everything like we've got bolding. We've got the different styles that we've got. Spell checker that's built into it. We don't have macros. We don't have mail merges. So that's why you would still want to use the client to be able to do that. We can insert our pictures, clip art. We just have the different views from viewing it. And we've got the editing that we mentioned. But you may notice if you've seen much of SharePoint 2010 as we're going along that inserting the picture icon is the same. The ribbon is the same as what you've been able to see within SharePoint 2010. So that commonality is actually there, and it's the same within the applications. So if I now click on Open in Word, it's closed the web app in the background, and if you can spot that just there, and I can actually start doing everything that I need to be able to do as normal. Excel. So here's my Premier League table that we saw on Google Docs earlier on. I've actually put all sorts of information in it. I didn't just put tables. I actually put all sorts of different pivot tables in there. I've got flip reflags. Well, Google Docs wasn't able to cope with that. So I can see that top 4 teams going to Europe, and then I've got reds based on the number of games that they've run. I've got goals difference there, who's positive, how well they've done in the last 6 games. So I might change some of this data. Quite easy. I'm an Aston Villa fan. I want to say that they've actually won 20 games. I've got to click on Edit first, haven't I? So Aston Villa, I'm going to change that to 20. And I'm going to change that to 5. And you noticed there, I don't know if you spotted that turned from 2 yellows into 2 greens just here as I change that information. It's also actually automatically changed the point system that I've got for them. So it's already there as well. So they automatically changes this all based online as we go along. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to open it up in Chrome. So view in browser. So I'm actually logged in as a different user here. While that loads, I'm also going to do it in Firefox. So now we can all view the same document, which is great. You want people to be able to view this document at the same time. How about if we want to have 3 people editing the document at the same time? So that's in edit mode in Firefox. This is edit mode in Safari. Now, Microsoft aren't going to stand up and say, yeah, it works in Safari. Yeah, it works in Chrome. I don't think they're ever going to advertise that SharePoint 2010 works in Chrome. But it does. It doesn't have the full IE capabilities. But as you can see from here, we can still see all our information as we've been going along. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change Birmingham City so they've not won any, they've not drawn any, and they've lost 38 games. And as you see, I've changed that, and automatically, it's actually gone green to say they've got no draws, because I think wins are better than draws, but you can actually see that it's red, it's red, it's red, it's done, it's 0. Automatically changed it for us, even though it's in Chrome. But what it's also done, it's changed it in the other browsers as we've gone along. So we've actually got co-authoring online on the same document. So we've got 3 people at the moment, as you can see, just down in this bottom right corner. I don't know if you can see it around there, but actually listing the people who are actually using and editing that document at the same time. It doesn't come in all in all of the web apps, but it does work in Excel and OneNote. We can have more as we actually go along. So hopefully you can tell that even though we can use SharePoint in Firefox, which I think is a big win, we can also use the web apps as well. Let's continue in Firefox, I think. No, I won't. We'll pop back over. It is only the beta products. So, that's Excel. PowerPoint. And we mentioned earlier on when we tried that Google Docs, we didn't have any of the animation that's going on. So these, as I mentioned, these are some slide deck earlier on from Andrew Woodward's session, level 400 session. So he's got lots of animation that's actually going on. If I go along, I can see the presentation. I'll just put it in full screen mode. There we go. And click through these. And here's my animation. So we've still got the full Outlook, PowerPoint features that we've actually got there with animations as they actually go along. Now it's a bit slow if you don't have Silverlight. You don't have to have Silverlight to be able to do this, but you certainly want Silverlight because it makes the animations a bit more rich, makes them a bit more, I can't think what the word is, look better. It's not the word I'm looking for, but they actually animate better and they turn better and they're not a bit glitchy kind of style. It's great. But that is actually a PPT file, which is the old 2003 style format. So that's fine. As you can see, that's a PPT rather than a PPTX. Click on Edit, and it actually says, I can't do it. Great. I can't edit it, but it's going to go away. It's going to convert it for me. As it does that. This presentation was 10 meg at first, but I've actually cut it down because I thought it would just take too long to convert. Demo takes too long. And we now have our PPTX, as you can see there at the top. And as it still loads, fingers crossed it won't take too long. I was in the, well, that loads anyway. I was in the speaker room just before we started, and they're all in there. Last night's party. Steve Smith, I don't think, slept. I think he was too much on a buzz and was actually carried straight through. Fair play, if you can. I said, look, maybe we could liven up my session a little bit. Hopefully I can wake you all up. I said, how about I wear my pyjama bottoms? Then somebody said, no, Alex, people don't want to see you in your pyjamas. I went, that's actually a very good point. But I thought it might liven the session up a little bit. Anyway, here we go. I can actually now go in here and I can say, actually, I don't like, it was my session really. There we go. It's all done. And I can open it again in PowerPoint. So I've still got the same custom ribbon. I can't do all the animation stuff. It's very boring. There's not much on there. But there's one main thing that is missing. There's no save button. It's a bug in beta. There's no save button up here, where you might see it in some of them. There's no save button here. Where's the save button? It's not there. They have fixed it apparently for the RTM. Excel didn't have one. Word has one, but only Word has a save button. Because of that co-authoring, it automatically saves it back to the site, so everybody else can start loading it. It's great. I want to save, I want an undo version as we go along. It's not there, unfortunately. So that's PowerPoint. What we've got left, we've got OneNote. So here's my OneNote session, SP Evo. So this is actually my notes from my previous session that I put together. I've got everything together. I've got my image. I've got my a couple of images. I've got a bit of text at the bottom for my links that I use for it. That's great. I also used, I talked about acronyms in there. So I've actually got my acronyms in there. I actually use OneNote for a lot more. Popping up my actual machine here, I can see I've got multiple tabs. This is from the SharePoint Best Practice Conference last year. I can pull all my notes up from that. So here's my notes from last year's conference, the Best Practice Conference. So I don't write anything down. Anybody here work for Birmingham City Council? Good, I can tell my story on OneNote. I work on a Birmingham project, which is all about innovating kids, something called Building Schools for the Future. It's not a building project, it's an educational transformation to make kids enjoy teaching, learning, all that kind of thing. A lot of changes for the teachers, so they can't just stand up there and do death by PowerPoint. Kids don't find it enjoyable. That's why I like SharePoint. You bring in the social networking into schools, all that kind of thing. It's great. So I'm there. They have an induction day as part of all the different companies, because there's a building company, there's a leasing company, there's all sorts of different companies, and we're doing the IT side of it. I'm sat there. I've got my laptop out. I'm taking all my notes on my OneNote, and somebody comes and taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, what's the matter? He said, why are you using your laptop? He says, I'm taking my notes. I said, no, you take notes on paper. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I've just sat in 20 presentations that are all death by PowerPoint, and you're telling me I can't take my notes on OneNote. No, you can't. Paper. If we're talking about innovation for kids in the education, we should be able to use these kind of things. We should be using an example of this. Unfortunately, I never told him to get lost because I'd only been there 3 days. But I fancy telling it because it's not about buildings, it's about the IT. And hopefully, as I said, try it for a week, don't give up. It's all there. Let me just pull up one thing that I do like to do. I've got a tablet laptop down here. What I can do is I can draw on it, taking notes. So if you still like writing rather than typing, it's great to be able to do that. So anyway, jumping back, sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent then. I have all those wonderful notes that are there, but it does say there, I don't have all the features. I can't see anything. We'll actually show you what that is in a minute. Here it is in my edit mode, exactly the same as what I had in Word, which is why I'm guessing they're probably linked. I open this up in OneNote. Let me just show you that there's nothing below this. I open it up in OneNote. Just going to download that. And instantly you can see the 3 documents that I've actually placed in there. They can't be seen in the OneNote. Not everything is there. They're stored up as part of it, but it's not the full capabilities. I don't have the shareability, being able to work on 2 OneNotes at the same time, or the drawing features. So they are very, very basic, but tick the box if you just want to be able to quickly edit a document or a spreadsheet. So that was 4 demos straight away. I don't know if you've heard much. Has anybody mentioned PowerPoint broadcasting as part of your SharePoint 2010? Anybody heard of the broadcasting? There's a few hands that have gone up. Cool. That's great, because I will be able to show that as well. So this is the ability to be able to take a PowerPoint presentation and share it with the internet. Now, Microsoft offer a online where it just goes out generally to anybody who you want it to, but it's also actually built into SharePoint 2010 as well. So it's available over the web, as we mentioned. It's available through a site collection, so we have to create a new site collection that's going to do this PowerPoint broadcasting. We have to create that, as I mentioned, in Central Admin, so you're going to need an admin to be able to create it. But as soon as it's created, you only need one for multiple presentations that you're going to do. And we have to broadcast it from the PowerPoint client rather than the actual web app itself. So I was going to take you through all those steps as we go along. How are we doing for time? Plenty of time. Got half an hour to kill yet. So here's my Central Admin. Has anybody not seen Central Admin before? Cool. Nobody. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a site collection here. I'm going to call it SP Evo. Oh, yeah, SP Evo, he says. Change it to sites, SP Evo. And we have, in the enterprise area, we actually have this PowerPoint broadcasting. It doesn't actually appear anywhere else other than Central Admin. Just to prove that to you, if I go here, I go to New Site, and I go down to P, I only have personalization site and project website. So it has to be done within Central Admin. So let's add my primary And I'll add my secondary. Click OK. It's going off to create that all for us. And here we go. The new top level site has been created. That's fine. I click on SP Beta Sites. It's going to load that up for us. It actually tells us what we need to do. So some instructions there and how we're going to do that. I'm just going to go through that ourselves now. So I'm actually going to do this over the wireless network in this place. So we'll see how well this really works. So here's our slides that we mentioned earlier on from Andrew's session. With that animation, we can see the animation here on the bottom slide. Let's zoom out a little bit. We've got it there. Great. Fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Share. We can actually save those documents to SkyDrive. So if you think what SkyDrive is, now you've seen it. We can save it to SharePoint, but of course we want to do the broadcasting slideshow. So click on Slideshow. And if we change that broadcast site, we can see that there's the PowerPoint broadcast service, which is the one that's available on the internet. It's all based on your live ID. So when you create it, it asks you what's your live ID. So I was putting in mine, and put your password in. Then it sends you a URL to be able to do it. It's going to do exactly the same. So if I click on Add a new service here, the URL is sp2010-beta. So this is my internal server /sites. /SP Evo. Add. We'll start the broadcast. Preparing. So SharePoint's doing what it's doing. And there's the link. That is the link that everybody's going to need to connect to the site. So I can either email that, but I'm actually going to copy it. And this is where hopefully the demo can go working right. So this is just on my other laptop. This is where you can actually see the one I tried earlier on. Here's my new link. And I'm going to switch over to my other laptop. Has that come through yet? It has. Great news. I'm going to click on that link. So we're now on another machine. Here's my other machine just to prove it. It's going off. Just thinking about it. I've been really pleased if this works. My demos didn't work in my last session. I don't know what the infrastructure's like here. Oh, I've got a password. Yes. That's not admin. Admin. Let's see how that goes. Oh, wrong one. What did I do wrong? Oh, I know what I did wrong. It might help if I put the underline in. And I'll jump back on my, I know you can't see it on this machine, you might have to take my word for it. Waiting for broadcast to begin, so I'll just click start on there, and I'm going to click one slide on here. And it changes. So it's taking about a second or two to change. It's great. I should put this in full screen mode. That's actually turning out to be very quick now. I haven't flipped the screens, by the way, I promise. Click, and there's the animation starting to work. So actually streaming that over the wireless system here. I can send you the links all if you've got your laptops. I did consider trying that out. Let's go get a laptop. So let's get on the wireless network. Let's try this broadcasting. But there you can actually see it's working. I can actually click away on this machine here, and it's still running. What we get, if I switch back over, is that I said end broadcast. I can send the invite further. I can begin from the beginning again, from the beginning. And switching back over, it's gone back to the first slide again. Oh, yeah, I need to switch back over. So we'll end that and broadcast. I haven't tried it yet, I have to admit, mainly because I don't have a microphone on this, but it also sends voice as well. So you can actually send off a whole meeting, everything that goes off around the internet through that. Has anybody tried that who's played with this? No. I've been told. I'll go by what I've been told. Where were we? PowerPoint broadcasting. So just a summary, I know this session's been quite short. Unfortunately, there's not too much to show on the web apps. Very simple, as we mentioned. We've seen SkyDrive, 125 gigs worth of space on the internet. It's all there. The new wave of Live is coming out. Wave 4 of Live is coming soon. So there's more features and more MSN and more everything else there. We've obviously got SharePoint 2010. And we've seen the Word, we've seen Excel, we've seen PowerPoint and OneNote working. And we've also got the PowerPoint broadcasting. So thank you for attending. Hopefully there might be some more breakfast left, but I'm more than happy to take some questions if you have. Chris?
Yeah, when you showed the multi-collaboration of the Excel,
yes.
Do you know if there's a limit to the number of people that can work?
I don't actually know. I can find out for you though. Any more questions? Gentleman at the back. Yes, I meant to mention license. I do apologise. Apparently, according to the session I attended at the SharePoint conference last year, that if you have a client access, a client office device license, you're actually entitled to having the web app as well. I would not recommend it as a replacement, no, because you just don't have all the features that you want to be able to have. We might have seen the pivot tables and the ability to be able to change the flagging system and all that, but you can't set them up. That is something that you need to be able to do within the client itself. Any more questions? Cool. Well, thank you all for attending. I know it's an early morning start. I thought it was going to be a half an hour presentation, and I thought I would have suggested 9:15, but thank you very much.